Okay, I've been reading the Apocalypse of Abraham. A friend of mine asked me to do it and to put it out so that she could listen to it. I'm going to start at chapter 13 and halfway through chapter 13, because initially it just talks about when Abraham was in his father's house, which is Terah, Terah. He worked with Nimrod, who was his right-hand man. Whereas Abraham was from the the pure lineage. But his father worked with Nimrod, who was of serpent seed, and I believe also Nephilim seed. He was a combination of both. That's why he was known as the man of renown, but also his lineage came through Ham. It's a really interesting reading. There are a lot of apocalypse of Moses and Abraham and various ones where they have had experiences and gone up onto the firmament or gone up into heaven and been told certain things, and secrets of heaven have been disclosed to them. And Enoch had 256 books, and most of them are all about his experiences and things that, although we don't have them with us today, we've only got, I think, 3, maybe 4. We've got 3, and there's another one which people think is a bit controversial. So whether it was him or not, I don't know. That wrote that book. But getting back to Abraham, it's an interesting read. And it just shows you how the Father has a distinction between clean and unclean, between righteous and unrighteous, between walking according to his ways and not. And with that comes different benefits, blessings and curses, I suppose. And one of them is the fact that Satan himself actually can't touch you or his minions if you are walking with the Father correctly. So I'll just let the words of this roll out and just enjoy it. It's lie down, close your eyes, because it forms a picture. He has been with an angel who is just magnificent in appearance, but very daunting. And he goes with the angel up. This is just about the angel's appearance, actually. I read this bit in chapter 11. And I rose up and saw him who had grasped me by the right hand and set me upon my feet. And the appearance of his body was like sapphire, and the look of his countenance like chrysolite, and the hair of his head like snow, and the turban on his head like the appearance of a rainbow, and the clothing of his garments like purple, and a golden scepter was in his right hand. And he said to me, Abram, and I said, here I am, your servant. And he said, let not my appearance frighten you, nor my speech, that your soul be not troubled. Come with me, and I will be with you, visible until a sacrifice, and then he will be invisible. So be of good cheer and come. And then it just talks a little bit about some animals and doing a sacrifice, which they did back in those days. And then the bird, and there was a bird there, and the bird spoke, but it wasn't the bird, it was Azazel, Hasatan, that spoke. So now I'm going to go from chapter 13. And it came to pass when I saw the bird speak, I said to the angel, what is this, my Lord? And he said, this is ungodliness, this is Azazel. And he said to it, disgrace upon you, Azazel, for Abraham's lot is in heaven, but yours is upon the earth, because you have chosen and loved this for your dwelling place of your uncleanness. Therefore, the eternal mighty Lord made you to be a dweller upon the earth, and through you every evil spirit of lies, and through you wrath and trials for a liar. And through you a wrath, trial, beg your pardon. There's two translations, so I'm sort of going between the two. So, and through you wrath and the trials for the generations of ungodly men. For God, the eternal mighty one, has not permitted that the bodies of the righteous should be in your hand, in order that thereby the life of the righteous and the destruction of the unclean may be assured. So hear this, my friend, and be gone with shame from me. For it has not been given to you to play the tempter in regard to all the righteous. Depart from this man. You cannot lead him astray. He is an enemy to you and to those who follow you and love what you desire. For behold, the vesture which is in heaven was formerly yours, talking to Satan, and has been set aside for him. And the mortality which was his has been transferred to you. Chapter 14. And the angel said to me, know that from henceforth the Eternal One has chosen you. Be of good courage and use this authority so far as I bid you against him who slanders the truth. Should I not be able to put him to shame, who has scattered over the earth the secrets of heaven and has rebelled against the Mighty One? Say to him, become the burning coal of the furnace of the earth. Go, Azal, into the inaccessible parts of the earth, for your heritage is to be over those who are with you. The ones brought forth with the stars and clouds, and with the men whose portion you are. Even those who exist on account of your being. Justification shall be your enemy. Now depart from me by your perdition. And I uttered the words that the angel taught me, and then the angel said to me, answer him not. For God has given him power over those who answer him. And the angel spoke to me again, saying, however much he spoke to you, answer him not, in order that he may have no free access to you, because the Eternal One has given him weight and will in this respect. And I did that which was commanded me by the angel, and no matter how much he spoke to me, I answered him nothing whatsoever. Interesting. I thought that was very interesting. Never give him a foothold, ignore him. And I think this is about what's going on in the world with all the, all the wicked and what they're doing in the media and things like that. And I remember someone saying to me, why don't we, it was about Barry Young and about things that have been put in the media. And someone said, why don't you then sue the wicked, the Auckland Herald for putting that in, and don't even go there with what the wicked do. Ignore them and get on with what we are to do. We're better to build the house than worry about what they're doing, because God judges and he will put it straight. Anyway, keep going. And it came to pass when the sun went down, behold, there was the smoke as of a furnace, and the angels who had the portions of the sacrifice ascended from the top of the smoking furnace. And the angel took me by the right hand and set me upon the right wing of the pigeon, and set himself on the left of the turtle. Oh, this is just talking about the sacrifice that they're doing. Neither of the birds had been slaughtered, and he bore me to the borders of the flaming fire, and we ascended upon many winds of the heavens, which were above the firmament. And I saw in the air on the heights to which we ascended a strong light, impossible to describe, And within the light, a fiery, burning fire of people, many people of male appearance, all constantly changing in aspect and form, running and being transformed, and worshipping and crying with a sound of words that I could not recognize. And I said to the angel, chapter 16, why have you brought me up here? Because my eyes cannot now see distinctively, and I am growing weak, and my spirit is departing from me. And he said to me, remain close by me, and do not fear, for the one whom you cannot see is now coming towards us with a great voice of holiness, even the eternal one who loves you. But you cannot see him. But you must not allow your spirit to grow faint on account of the choirs of those who cry out. For I am with you to strengthen you. Chapter 17. While he was thus speaking, fire came all about us, and there was a voice within the fire, like the sound of many waters, like the sound of the sea in violent motion. And I desired to fall down there and worship. And I saw that the angel who was with me bowed his head and worshipped. But the surface of the high place where I seemed to be standing changed its inclination constantly, rolling as the great waves on the surface of the sea. And the angel said, worship Abraham, and utter the song which I shall now teach you. Utter it without ceasing, that is, without pause, in one continuous strain from beginning to end. And the song which he taught me to sing, his words appropriate to that sphere in which we then stood. For the east sphere in heaven has its own song of praise, and only those who dwell there know how to utter it. And those upon earth cannot know or utter it, except they be taught by the messengers of heaven. And the words of that song were of his import and signification. Eternal, mighty, holy, ill, God only supreme, you who are the self-originated, the beginningless one, incorruptible, spotless, uncreated, immaculate, mortal, self-complete, self-illuminating, without father, without mother, unbegotten, exalted, fiery one, lover of men, benevolent one, bountiful one, jealous over me, and very compassionate, Eli, my Yahweh, eternal, Jehovah, Zibboath, very glorious, Yael. You are the one whom my soul has loved. Eternal protector, shining like fire, whose voice is like the thunder, whose look is like the lightning. You are the all-seeing one who receives the prayers of all such as honor you, and turn away the requests of those who embarrass you with their provocations. He dissolves the confusions of the world, which arise from the ungodly and the righteous mixed up in the confusion of the corruptible age. The renewing of the age of the righteous, shine, O Lord, shine as a light, even as that light with which you clothed yourself on the first day of creation. Shine as the light of the morning of your creatures, and let it be day upon earth. For in these heavenly dwelling places there is no need for any other light than the unspeakable splendor of the light of your countenance. O answer my prayer Oh, be well pleased with it. Oh, accept my sacrifice with which I have prepared for me to offer. Accept me favorably and show me, teach me all that you have promised. Chapter 18. And while I was still reciting the song, the mouth of the fire which was on the surface rose up high, and I heard a voice like the roaring of the sea, nor did it cease on account of the rich abundantness of the fire. And as the fire raised itself up, ascending into the heights, I saw under the fire a throne of fire, and round about it the watchfulness of many eyes, even the all-seeing ones reciting their song, and under the throne of 4 fiery living ones singing, and their appearance was one, and each one had 4 faces. And such was the appearance of their countenance, that each one had a face of a lion, a man, an ox, and an eagle. And because of their 4 heads on their bodies, they had 16 faces. And each one had 3 pairs of wings, from their shoulders, from their sides, and from their loins. And with the wings from their shoulders, they covered their faces. And with the wings from their loins, they covered their feet, while the 2 middle wings were spread out for flying straight forward. And it came to pass that when they had ended their singing, they looked at one another and threatened one another. And it came to pass that when the angel who was with me saw that they were threatening each other, he left me and went running to them and turned the countenance of each one away from the countenance immediately facing him, in order that they might not look upon each other. And he began to teach them the song of peace, which has its origins in the Eternal One. And as I stood alone and looked, I saw behind the living ones a chariot with fiery wheels, each wheel full of eyes round about, and over the wheels was the throne which I had seen, and which was covered with fire, and the fire encircled it round and about. And lo, an indescribable fire contained a mighty fiery host, and I heard its holy voice like the voice of a man. And a voice came to me out of the midst of the fire, saying, Abraham, Abraham. And I answered, saying, Here am I. And he said, Consider the expanses which are under the firmament, on which you are now placed, and see how on no single expanse is there any other than the one whom you have sought, even the one who loves you. And while he was yet speaking, the expanses opened, and there below me were the heavens. And I saw upon the 7th firmament, upon which I stood, a fire widely extended, and the light which is the treasury of life, and the dew with which God will awaken the dead, and the spirits of the departed righteous, and the spirits of those souls who have yet to be born, and judgment, and righteousness, peace and blessing, and an innumerable company of angels, and the living ones, and the power of the invisible glory that sat above the living ones. And I looked downwards from the mountain on which I stood to the 6th firmament, and I saw a multitude of angels of pure spirit without bodies, whose duty was to carry out the commands of the fiery angels who were upon the 7th firmament. As I was standing suspended over them, and behold, upon the 6th firmament there were no other powers of any form, save only the angels of pure spirit. And he commanded that the 6th firmament should be removed from my sight. And I saw there on the 5th firmament the powers of the stars, which carry out the commands laid upon them. and the elements of the earth obeyed them. Chapter 20. And the mighty and the eternal mighty one said to me, Abram, Abram. And I said, here am I. And he said to me, consider from above the stars which are beneath you, and number them for me, and make known to me their number. And I said, how can I? For I am but a man of the dust of the earth. And he said to me, as the number of the stars and their power, so will I make your seed a nation, and a people set apart for me as my own inheritance, as distinct from that of Azazel. And yet I include Azazel in my house. And I said, O eternal mighty one, let your servant speak before you, and let not your anger be kindled against your chosen one. For lo, before I come hither, Azazel insulted against me. How then, while he is not now before you, how can you constitute yourself with him? Chapter 21. And he said to me, look now beneath your feet at the firmaments, and understand the creation represented and foreshadowed in this expanse, the creatures who exist upon it, and the ages prepared for it. And I saw beneath the surface of my feet, even beneath the sixth heaven, and what was therein. And then the earth and its fruits, and what moved upon it, and its animate beings, and the power of its men, and the ungodliness of some of its souls, and the righteous deeds of other souls. And I saw the lower regions, and the petition therein, the abyss and its torments. And I saw the sea and its islands, its monsters and its fishes, and Leviathan and his dominion, his camping ground and his caves, and the world which lay above him, his movements and the destructions of the world on his account. And I saw there the streams and the rivers and the rising of the waters and their windings in their courses. And I saw there the Garden of Eden and its fruit, the source of the river that issues from it, that flows from it, the trees and their blossoms, and the one who behaved righteously. And I saw therein their fruits and their blessedness. And I saw there a great multitude, men and women and children, half of them on the right side of the vision and half of them on the left side of the vision. 22. And I said, O eternal mighty one, what is this vision and picture of the creatures? And he said to me, this is my will for those who exist in the divine world council, for thus it seemed well-pleasing in my sight. And so afterwards I gave commandment to them through my word, and so it came to pass that whatever I had determined to be was already planned beforehand in the picture vision before you. And it has stood before me, and before it was created, as you have seen. In the other text here it says, I gave them a command by my word, and they came into existence. Whatever I had decreed was to exist had already been outlined in this, and all the previously created things you have seen before me. And I said, O sovereign, mighty, and eternal, who are the people in this picture on this side and that? And he said to me, those who are on the left side are all those born before your day and afterwards, some destined for judgment and restoration, and others for vengeance and cutting off at the end of the age. But those on the right side of the picture, they are the people who have been set apart for me, and whom I have ordained to be born of your line and called my people, even some of those who derive from Azazel. Now look at the picture again and see who it is who seduced Eve. And what is the fruit of the tree? And you will know what is to be, and how it shall be with your seed among the people at the end of the days of the age. And all that you cannot understand, I will make known to you. For you are well pleasing in my sight, and I will tell you of those things which are kept in my heart. And I looked into the picture, and my eyes ran to the side of the Garden of Eden, and I saw there a man of imposing height, and mighty in structure, incomparable in aspect. And he was embracing a woman who likewise approximated to the aspect of his size and stature. And they were standing under a tree of the Garden of Eden, and the fruit of this tree was like a bunch of grapes of the vine. And standing behind the tree was one who had the aspect of a serpent, having hands and feet like those of a man, and wings on its shoulders, 6 pairs of wings, so that there were 6 wings on the right and 6 on the left. And as I continued looking, I saw the man and the woman eating the fruit from the tree. And I said, who are these who are embracing, and who is the one behind them? Sorry, and who is the one between them who is behind the tree? And what is the tree that they are eating? And he said, this is the counsel of the world. This one is Adam, and this one who is their desire upon the earth is Eve. But he who is between them represents ungodliness, in their beginnings on the way to perdition, even as is ours. And I said, O mighty, eternal one, why have you given such as him the power to destroy the generations of men and their works upon the earth? And he said to me, those who will to do evil. So those who will to do evil over them I gave him power, even to be beloved of them. And I answered, O mighty one, therefore is it your will that evil should be desired in the hearts of men, since you are indeed angered over that which you see? Is it your will? And you are angry with him who is doing what is unprofitable in your counsel? And he said to me, I am angered by mankind on your account, and on account of those who shall be of your family hereafter. For as you can see in the picture, the burden of destiny is placed upon them. And I shall tell you what shall be, and how much shall be in the last days. Look now at everything in the picture. And I looked and I saw what was before me in creation. I saw Adam and Eve with him. And I saw the cunning adversary, and Cain, who acted lawlessly through the promptings of the adversary. And I saw the slaughter of Abel and the destruction brought about and caused upon him through the lawless one. And I saw impurity in those who lust after it, and its pollution, and their jealousies, and the fire of their corruption in the lowest parts of the earth. And the other translation says, and I saw, as it were, Adam and Eve, who was with him, and with them the crafty adversary, and Cain, who had been led by the adversary to break the law. And I saw murdered Abel, and the perdition brought on him and given through the lawless one. And I saw their fornication in those who desired it, and its defilement, and their zeal, and the fire of the corruption in the lower parts of the earth. And I saw theft and those who hastened after it, and the arrangement of the retribution at the judgment of the great assize. And the other text says, the judgment of the great court. I saw their naked men and their foreheads against each other, and their disgrace, and the passions which they had for each other, and their retribution. And I saw desire, and in her hand the head of every kind of lawlessness, and her scorn and contempt and waste assigned to petition. Chapter 25, and I saw there the likeness of the idol of jealousy, carved in woodwork, such as my father was wont to make. And its body was of glittering bronze and covered the wood. And before it I saw a man who was worshipping the idol, and in front of him there was an altar, and upon the altar was a boy slain in the presence of the idol. And I said to him, what is this idol in the altar? And who is he who is sacrificed? And what is this beautiful great building which I see? Beautiful in design and art and design, and even with a beauty like that which lies beneath your throne. And he said, here, Abraham, for that which you see is the temple, a copy of that which is in the heavens, glorious in its aspect and beauty. Even as I shall give it to the sons of men to ordain a priesthood for my glorious name, and in which the prayers of men shall be uttered and sacrifices offered as I ordain to your people. Even those who shall arise out of your generation, but the idol which you saw is the image of jealousy set up by some of those who shall come forth from your own loins in later days. And the man who sacrifices a murder is he who pollutes my temple, and such are witnesses to the final judgment. And their lot has been set from the beginning of creation. And I said, oh, Eternal Mighty One, why have you established it should be so, that it should be so? And then proclaim the knowledge thereof. And he said to me, hear, Abraham, and understand what I say to you. And answer my question, why did your father Terah not listen to your voice? And why did he not cease from his idol practices together with his whole house? And I said, oh, Eternal One, it was entirely because he did not choose to listen to my voice. And likewise, I did not listen to his counsel. And he said to me, the will of your father is within him, and your own will is within you. And so also the counsel of my own will is within me, and is ready for the coming days, even before you have any knowledge of them, or you can see with your eyes what is the future of them. Now look again into the picture and see how it will be with your seed. And I looked and saw, and behold, the picture swayed, and from it emerged on the left side an ungodly people, and they pillaged those who were on the right side, men, women, and children, and some they murdered, and others they kept as slaves. And I saw them run towards them through 4 entrances, and they burned the temple with fire, and the holy things that were therein were all plundered. And I said, O Holy One, behold the people who shall spring from me, and whom you have accepted are plundered by these ungodly men, and some are killed, whilst others they hold captives as slaves. And the temple they have burned with fire, and the beautiful things therein they have robbed and destroyed. If this to be, why have you so, if this to be, why have you so torn my heart? And he said to me, what you have seen shall happen on account of your seed. even those who anger me by reason of the idol statue which you saw, and on account of the human sacrifice in the picture, through their evil zeal and schemes in the temple, and as you saw it, so shall it be. And I said, O eternal mighty one, may these works of evil wrought in ungodliness now pass by, and rather show me those who fulfilled the commandments, even the works of righteousness, for of a truth you can do this. And he said to me, the days of the righteous are seen in type by the lives of those righteous rulers who shall arise, and whom I have created to rule at the times appointed. But know this, that out of them shall arise others who care only for their own interests, even of the type that I have already shown you. Chapter 28. And I answered and I said, O mighty one, hallowed be your power. Be favorable to my petition and show me, because for this reason you have brought me up here, whether what I saw shall happen to them for a long time. And he showed me a multitude of his people, and he said to me, on their account, through 4 entrances, as you saw, I shall be provoked by them. And in these shall my retribution for their deeds be accomplished. But in the 4th descent of 100 years, even 1 hour of the age, the same is as 100 years, there shall be misfortune among the nations. But also for 1 hour, there shall be mercy and honor among those nations. And I said, O eternal one, how long are the hours of the age? And he said, 12 hours have I ordained for this present age of ungodliness to rule among the nations and within your seed. And until the end of the times, it shall be even as you saw. And now reckon and understand and look again into the picture. And I looked and I saw a man going out from the left side of the nations, and there went out men and women and children from the side of the nations, many hosts, and worshipped him. And while I stood, looked, and there came many from the right side, and some of those insulted him, and some of them even struck him, but others, however, worshipped him. And as I watched, I saw Azazel approach him, and he kissed him on the face, and then stood behind him. And I said, O eternal one, who is the man insulted and beaten? Who is worshipped by the nations and kissed by Azazel? And he answered and said, Hear, Abraham, the man you saw insulted and beaten, and yet worshipped by many, he is the relief granted by the nations to the people who proceed from you. In the last days, in the 12th hour of the age of ungodliness, but in the 12th hour of my final age, I will set up this man from your generation, whom you saw issue from among the people, and all will follow. And all who follow will become like this man, and such as are called by me will join the others, even those who will to change within themselves. And as for those who emerge from the left side of the picture, the meaning is this: there shall be many from the nations who shall set their bones upon him. Oh, their hopes. Sorry, it's been cut off. There shall be many from the nations who shall set their hopes upon him. But as for those whom you saw from the seed on the right side of the picture, who insulted him and struck him, many shall be offended in him. But some shall worship him. And he shall test those of your seed who have worshipped him in the 12th hour at the end, with a view to shortening the age of ungodliness. That would be nice. Before the age of the righteous begins to grow, my judgment shall come upon the lawless people through the people of your seed, who have been separated unto me. I love that. I'll read it again. Before the age of the righteous begins to grow, my judgment shall come upon the lawless peoples through the people of your seed who have been separated unto me. And in those days I will bring up all creatures of the earth, 10 plagues, through misfortune and disease, and the sighing of their grief. And this shall be brought upon the generations of men on account of their provocation and the corruption of mankind, whereby they provoke me. And then shall righteous men of your seed survive in the number which is kept secret by me, and will hasten the coming of the glory of my name to that place prepared beforehand for them, which you saw devastated in the picture. And they shall live and be established by sacrifices of righteousness in the age of the righteous. And they shall rejoice in me continually and receive those who return to me in repentance. For great shall be the inner torment of those who have despitefully used them in this world. Excuse me. For great shall be the inner torment of those who have despitefully used them in this world, as they observe the honour placed upon my own in the day of glory. The other text says, before the age of justice starts to grow, my judgment will come upon the heathen who have acted wickedly through the people of your seed who have been set apart for me. In those days, I will bring upon all earthly creation 10 plagues through evil and disease and the groaning of the bitterness of their souls. Such will I bring upon the generations of those who are on it, out of anger and corruption of their creations with which they provoke me. And then from your seed will be left the righteous men in their number, protected by me, who strive in the glory of my name towards the place prepared beforehand for them which you saw deserted in the picture. And they will live, being affirmed by the sacrifices and the gifts of justice and truth in the age of justice. And they will live, being affirmed by the sacrifices and the gift of justice and truth in the age of justice. And they will rejoice forever in me, and they will destroy those who have destroyed them. Yes, they will rebuke those who have been rebuked them through their mockery, and they will spit in their faces, those rebuked by me, when they are to see me rejoicing with my people, with those who rejoice and receive and truly, truly return to me. Hallelujah. See, Abraham, what you have seen here, what you have heard, know what you have known, and go to your inheritance, and behold, I am with you forever. I love that. We do it. And it's just like that. What was it, desire? You've neglected the weightier things. Truth, justice, and mercy. They follow through. We need to have truth of what's happened in the world and what's gone on. Then through that, we need justice. Justice, they need to come to the party. We need full disclosure. We need them to pay for the sins that they've done. And then there's mercy. They follow on, one from the other. Nearly done, chapter 30. But while he was still speaking to me, I found myself once again upon the earth, and I said, "Oh, Eternal One, I am no longer in the glory which is on high, and there is no matter which my soul longs to know and understand which has not been revealed to me." And he said to me, "What your heart desireth, I will tell you, because you have sought to see the 10 plagues which I have prepared for the godless nations, and which have been predetermined at the passing over the 12th hour of the age of the earth. So hear therefore what I divulge, and so shall it come to pass. The first is the distressing pain of sickness. The second, conflagration of many cities. The third, the destruction and pestilence of animals. The fourth, hunger of the whole world and its people." I think of that now, that, they're targeting in New Zealand here with the 1080 poisons, and they want us to eat bugs and not meat. And all the farmers that are happening in Europe, hunger, because they destroy our meat, which we need. The fifth, by destruction amongst its rulers, by earthquake and the sword. The sixth, the multiplication of hail and snow. The seventh, wild beasts will be their grave. The eighth, pestilence and hunger shall alternate with destruction. The ninth, punishment by the sword and flight and distress. The 10th, thunder and voices and destructive earthquakes. 31. And then I will sound the trumpet out of the air, and will send my elect one, having in him all my power in one measure. And he shall summon my despised people from all nations, and I will send fire upon those who have insulted them and who have ruled over them in this age. And I will give those who have covered me with mockery to the scorn of the coming age, and I have prepared them to be food for the fire of Hades and perpetual flight through the air and the underworld. For they shall see the righteousness of the Creator and those whom he now honors, and they shall be ashamed. For I had hoped that they would come to me in repentance, rather than loving strange gods. But they forsook the mighty Lord and went the way that they willed to go. Chapter 32. Hear therefore, Abram, and see, and behold, in the 7th generation from you shall they leave the land of their slavery, after they had been ill-treated, as it were, for an hour of the age of ungodliness. And the nation whom I shall serve, they shall serve, I will judge. And the other text says, therefore, hear Abraham, and see, behold, your 7th generation shall go with you, and they will go out into an alien land, and they will enslave them and oppress them for 1 hour of the impious age. But of the nation, and that was when they were in Egypt, and then Moses brought them out. So it was the 7th generation. It was the third, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. It was Jacob's children, the 4th generation that they went in, and the 7th went out. It wasn't that. They were the great children, 4th and 5th down from the 12 boys, the 12 sons of Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and then Jacob. Yeah, so it was the 7 generations. But of the nation whom they shall serve, I am the judge. And the Lord said this too. Have you heard, Abraham, what I told you, what your tribe will encounter in the last days? And Abraham, having heard accepted the words of God in his heart. So my take home from this is quite a bit in it. There's 10 plagues at the end, like there are 10 plagues that came over those in Egypt before they got released, and it's going to happen again at the end of days. We're already in them now. But it's the righteous that stand for truth, that stand for what's right, win. So we need to support all of those that are standing for truth, all the whistleblowers and all the media outlets that speak the truth. We need to stand with them if we're not one that are able to stand on our own, because we're just not in that world or don't have those abilities to be public about it. We need to really get behind those that are. We need to be seen to be doing, and then we'll be blessed and we'll become part of that, the good side, the other side that Abraham looked at and saw, you know. So how sad it would have been for Abraham to look back, well, to look forward, I suppose, to the end of the age and see all his great whatever grandkids, his seed line just becoming so heavily corrupted. And those that stood for truth were persecuted until we push through, which we will do. So blessed be his name. I hope you enjoyed this, Mia. It's for you, sweetheart. Blessed be his name. He who is holy and true does not change. His word endures forever.